Oh, here's an original idea. Let's force people to join unions. That'll be really good for them, it'll be good for the economy, it'll be good for their employers, it'll be... Wait a minute. Haven't we tried that already? Yes, indeed we have. It's amazing the place that compulsory unionization once occupied in the minds of left-wing thinkers. Early in the last century, it became a central cause. Before they discovered racial justice, before they discovered gender, they were really keen on workers' rights, by which they meant not the right of the worker to sign a contract and abide by it and force the employer to abide by it if the employer tried to violate it. Not the right of the worker to quit a job they didn't like, but the right of workers to get together, get a job, and then refuse to do it or quit it if they didn't like it. You see this in the United States, where liberals were turning from the classical liberalism that was very sympathetic to the little guy, but thought that the key was to take away the unfair rules that held him down, this is John Stuart Mill kind of liberals, to these new modern liberals who thought the way to help the little guy was to make unfair rules that skewed things in his favor. They called them lib labs in the United States in the 1930s. And this movement did succeed in one sense in the United States. They did unionize the great heartland industries, as the British had managed to do earlier. And what happened to those industries? What happened to British shipbuilding? What happened to British coal mining? What happened to the American car industry and rubber and steel and glass? Yeah, they went into a death spiral. And as Rudy Dorn says, in economics, things happen more slowly than you think is possible, and then they happen faster than you think possible. The automobile industry looked fine for a couple of decades, but once it ran into trouble, it couldn't fix itself. Why? Because it was too sclerotic. Management couldn't make decisions, and the cost of wages and benefits was just too high. Eventually, one wag said General Motors became a pension company with a car firm attached. So why are they still trying to do it? Why, for instance, in Alberta, are they trying to bring unionization to the family farm? See, there's one area where unions have not yet killed the goose that laid the golden eggs, and that's government. Unionization rates in government are 4 times as high in both Canada and the United States as they are in the private sector. That's because governments can get wealth from other sectors. They can fasten onto the private sector and suck it out and give it to their members. But the failure of governance, and government's in a lot of trouble these days, it cannot respond sensibly to things, it's bloated, it's inefficient, it's distant, it's callous, and it's incapable of reform, are not unconnected with this compulsory unionization. It ruined private sector industries, it can ruin government, it can ruin anything it touches by allowing the people who work there to extract more than they are worth from their employers and eventually wring the employers dry. Why, knowing that, having the history that we have of compulsory unionization, would we persist in protecting it in government and continually desperately trying to extend it to other sectors of the private economy? Do we want to kill those too so there'll be no tax revenue?